I was just sitting here musing. Maybe some of us are overreacting a wee tad. Maybe the potential of a Joe Biden administration, no matter how illegitimate it would actually be, maybe there's some positive to it. Or, in other words, what could possibly go wrong?
You got to accentuate the positive, elim. Mine hit the negative, don't mess with Mr. In Between.
First of all, under a Biden administration, let's consider the positives of the pandemic. Yes, you heard me, the positives of coronavirus. Have you stopped to think that since we've been dealing with coronavirus, that there has actually been an upside? There has actually been something that we have neglected to sing hallelujah over. We have neglected to shout from the housetops. Why, since coronavirus arrived, apparently no one gets the regular flu or pneumonia anymore. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the CDC doesn't give us any more warnings about, the flu or pneumonia? It doesn't get reported. We don't talk about it. Apparently, nobody dies from the flu anymore. Nobody dies from pneumonia anymore. Apparently, nobody really dies from anything else except coronavirus. Why, even if you have a heart attack, if there's corona in your system, that's what killed you. You can be obese, overweight, suffering from type 2 diabetes, but if you tested positive, guess what killed you? Yes, that's right. We need to start thinking about this in the positive light. That's why when the Biden administration wants to begin to recommend things like national shutdown, national lockdown, mask for 100 days, we need to stop questioning. We need to stop thinking. We need to stop saying, now wait a minute. Back in February, Dr. Fauci told us no need to wear a mask. Then we were told, you know what, maybe for 9 days to give us an opportunity to make sure the hospitals are ready. Then 9 days went to 21 days to flatten the curve. And in most parts of the country that have been under some form of mask mandate since March, yet the numbers are still spiking. You're not supposed to scratch your head and say, well, if we've done the lockdown thing, if we've done the mask thing, and the numbers are still going up, why do we think that more masking, more mandates, and more lockdowns would all of a sudden work? I mean, after all, isn't the definition of insanity is repeating the same behavior over and over that hasn't worked, but hoping for a different result? You're not supposed to think that way. You have to see the positive. This would be a good thing to shut down our economy. That way, we can just finally, once and for all, put an end to small entrepreneurial business. Don't you understand? This is not about rolling in socialism. No, nay, nay. That is so conspiratorial. No. This is where the multinational companies, i.e., big corporations, this is where they're going to be here working hand in hand with the government to take care of you. You can now be totally dependent on the government and the multinational corporations to provide an income. If you have some kind of desire to work, fine. You can go work for $15 an hour minimum at one of these multinational corporations. They won't hire as many people, but hey, those of you that will be lucky enough to get a job, you're going to make $15 an hour. But that's okay. For the rest of you that can't work, won't work, don't want to work under a Biden administration, under the soft rollout of socialism, you won't have to, because that's the second benefit of a Biden administration, will be the guaranteed basic income. We are going to keep you at a subservient third world level existence, but that's okay. There'll be no more middle class. There'll be the ruling class, and then there'll be the rest of us. And for you, hey, you're going to have free college, free healthcare, free. Your standard of living will be less than Cuba, but it's going to be wonderful because Walmart will still be open. Your mom and pop hardware store won't. Your mom and pop businesses won't. The local little restaurant you like to dine in, no, nay. But hey, you can have Dine and Dash. Or in other words, as you drive by, just slow down enough, and the favorite restaurant of your choice that's able to kind of stay open will put your food in a container that'll look like a Frisbee, and they'll just toss it through your car window, and you go eat it at home alone where you belong. You people that keep telling me,
you're being so conspiratorial. You and the rest of the right-wing media, so conspiratorial.
this is what's coming. Now, personally, I believe that we are going to see the unexpected. Now, again, I don't think that this is a, quote, false hope. Some of you that wanted to take issue with me,
You said President Trump was going to win, and he didn't.
yeah, he did. He won in a landslide. Case in point, Saturday night, he went to Georgia. How many tens of thousands of people came out to hear him? Would anybody come out to hear Joe Biden? I mean, seriously, if George Soros didn't have paid rent-a-crowds, would anybody come hear Joe Biden? And again, some of you that want to argue and say, well, just because he has a big turnout at rallies doesn't mean they went and voted for him. Are you kidding me? No, you know what? I'm not even going to try to be pastoral on this one. Are you freaking kidding me? Give me a break. You're going to try to tell me that pasty, pale, whiter than Wonder Bread, old, stale, and pale Joe Biden got 20 million more votes than Barack Obama? I don't like Barack Obama, but he was hugely popular, and there is absolutely no way for us to even take a look seriously that Joe Biden pulled this thing off. And by the way, the longer this plays out, the more that the polls are now beginning to indicate the American people are starting to look at this saying, Houston, there's a problem. And there is. There's a huge problem. The president did win re-election. That's number one. Number two, if the courts do what they're supposed to do, and notice I keep saying if the courts do what they're supposed to do, this thing will be overturned. This thing will be righted. Now, where I hedge my bet a little bit is I don't know that the courts will necessarily do the right thing. I'm believing that they will, but they may not. And so if this stands, and by the way, you're starting to watch businesses hedge their bets now, in particular, medium-sized businesses and small businesses. I promise you, they're getting ready to do layoffs. I promise you, they're getting ready to cut back. You know, when Trump had won election and before he took offices, businesses began to look ahead. All of a sudden, they began to think, hey, we know what Trump's going to do. We know what the economy is going to do with Donald Trump. They began to think about expansion. They began to think about hiring. That's not being thought of in the business world right now. And if Joe does what he claims he's going to do, which is we're going to hit the great reset. Reset is code. It makes you feel good, but reset is code for we're going to take it back to the failed policies of Obama and Bush. We're going to take it back to those kind of tax rates, those kind of tax levels. The only boom you are going to see on Wall Street is the sell-off boom. And you are going to see businesses get ready to, quote, hunker down again. And if they are stuck with something like a $15 minimum wage, they're going to start cutting their employee need force. There'll be no more talk or thought of expansion, other than if you are a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Amazon that wants to absolutely have a monopoly sanctioned and protected by the government to drive out any type of competing business. Won't that be great that the same guy that owns Amazon and also owns a media outlet is then in bed with the deep state and the ruling class? Won't it be great? This is what these people have planned. And this is why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing. And you know it was a controlled leak over the weekend because the media is going into hysteria, where basically the president let it be leaked over the weekend that if by some chance the Electoral College gives this thing to Biden and he runs out of his legal options, and no, the president's not going to, declare a state of emergency and infect martial law and stay in office and force the military to take him out. That little wet dream fantasy of the Democrats isn't going to happen. Trump will leave. He won't attend Biden's inauguration, but he will hold a competing rally, a Goodbye America rally in Florida on the same day at the same time. And that'll be great. What a split screen that'll be. A few hundred people at the Biden inauguration standing in their circles, all socially distanced and virtue signaling with their masks on, and 100,000 people at a Trump rally in Florida. What a visual. What a way for the president to say adios and basically put his tall finger up at the entire deep state swamp Biden-Beijing presidency. So there are some things for us to smile about and be sarcastically humorous about. Now, obviously, we understand what we would like to see happen and what we believe should happen. But again, you do have to keep in mind that the deep state, pardon the pun, runs deep. So, will the powers that need line up and do the right thing? Probably not. But then again, this is Christmas. I am a pastor. I do believe in miracles. And you know what? Anything can happen. Hey, thank you for watching my Monday rant. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like. Spread this to your social media platforms and make sure you smack the bell and click the word all for notification of my next rant.